Hello everyone, I'd like to make a short video today. Just kind of give you a quick recap on where I'm at. And I'm about to go live with private tag and submission of my driver's license back to the Division of Motor Vehicle. And so just to give you a quick recap, what I've done is I've sent an affidavit to the Secretary of State in Washington, D.C., which is actually the state, the U.S. State Department, with a affidavit correcting with evidence of citizenship, declaring that I am no longer a United States citizen, but that I am a non-citizen national. Once I sent that with the return receipt, so I have proof that they got that, I immediately turned around and ordered an updated passport book and card, because the card is now going to be kind of like my identification. A week or two later, I sent out another mailing. Well, actually, what I did then, after I notified the State Department, I also sent the same affidavit to my local law enforcement folks. It would be the Attorney General of my state. Was going to be the district attorney. It was going to be the state police, county sheriff, and the local police chief. Also send it to the coroner and the public health people in case they want to come around and give me a jab that I don't want. So I put them on notice that I am no longer property of the federal government. And now I am sovereign. I'm standing now in private, and I'm not a pawn anymore in their game. And I'm no longer now subject to all the thousands of statutes, codes, ordinances, and all that nonsense. You basically get kicked over to common law, and common law is very simple. It can basically be put in one paragraph. As long as you are not causing any kind of property damage or personal injury or fraud against somebody else. In other words, you're not creating a victim. You're not depriving anybody of their life, liberty, or property. Then you're basically invisible to the law enforcement folks. They should have no interest in you. There's no cause of action, as they say. Anyway. So yes, I noticed and you send all those out with the proof of delivery and all that. So that was the first round. Second round was a fee schedule, an affidavit declaring that there was going to be fees associated with violating my rights and whatever I wanted to put in that fee schedule. And there's a whole slew of things you can put in there. Violation of Title 18, Section 241, which is deprivation of rights under color of law. Color of law means it's not really the law. It's it's a front. It's a mask of law and authority, but they call it the color of law. It's not actual authority. And so yeah, that comes with a $100,000 penalty. And it's a self-executing contract. And so basically they're put on notice that if they violate me, and there's a whole bunch of them, it was 2 pages, 2.5 pages, get that notarized. And you send those out to the same, I actually sent it out to all the same folks, State Department and all the local law enforcement folks. I didn't send that fee schedule to the coroner and to the public health people, although there is one provision that stipulate that if they provide medical care against my will, I think it was $1 million in damages. And this, like I said, a self-executing contract. So if they don't want to engage or pay those penalties, they have to leave me alone. Okay, and then the third round. And that's basically it. And the third thing I'm going to do is, well, actually, the third thing I sent was the letter that I came in possession from one of the Telegram groups. It was a letter written by an Arizona state senator, Wayne Stump, I think his name was, back in the mid-'80s, to his state police commander, basically stipulating he was concerned about, because there was going to be people that were not going to be contracting with the Division of Motor Vehicles, and that there were going to be people that are going to be traveling on the highways that were not in the system. They were not part of the statutory framework. And he was concerned that there was going to be problems with these officers perhaps not being trained and not being aware that there was this whole group of people that were not contracting with the state for privileges, okay, to travel. And so I copied that letter, and I sent also a page of unalienable rights, and those are God-given rights that were given to us by our Creator long before the before the government, the limited government, and the bureaucrats came into focus. So God's rights, they supersede all these statutes and all that layer. And besides, they're all corporations. They're all fictional. And so you have a right to contract or not to contract. You don't have to contract with these folks if you don't want to. And the problem is people don't really understand their rights, and that's not by accident. They've dumbed everybody down. They hide everything. They manipulate the language, and they keep everybody stupid intentionally, because they don't want the slaves getting off the plantation. So it's really up to each one of us to do the work and to find out what our rights are, and if you so choose, to demand your rights. You don't have to. You can continue being a slave and being told what to do. Every little thing, they'll tell you what to do, and you give up those rights when you acquiesce. And so I sent those, so everybody, other than the, other than the State Department and the coroner and the health department, people got this letter, a copy of the letter from Arizona. And I also put another 2 pages, kind of just giving them the what for, that there was, even though that was directed to Arizona, and that's not the state I'm living in, that really pertains to every state. That there is a group of people, and that group is growing, that are opting out of the corrupt government. And like I said, it's the way it's set up now. They've kind of cheated us, and they've committed fraud, and they've kind of circumvented our God-given rights, and they went into this commercial law. And so now they call it administrative law. Your local municipal court, it's a corporation, and they want to. It's really basically contract law, contract. And your driver's license is a contract. When you run down there to the DMV and you get your driver's license and you register your vehicle, and you've agreed to go into their system, and you've agreed to follow all of the codes concerning motor vehicle codes, and you have to have insurance on the vehicle and all this stuff. That's all part of that framework, where it's a money-making control mechanism that you don't have to participate in, because you have a God-given right to travel. Now, I'm not saying it's, and that was 40 years ago, that letter from Arizona. And so, yeah, that was probably a lot tougher back 40 years ago. It's getting easier and easier, because there's more and more of us that are pushing back against the corruption. And you don't have to look very far to see all the corruption everywhere you look. Okay? And then so part of that also is the birth certificate fraud, They've converted your Christian name, your lowercase name that you were born with at the hospital. I have a certificate of live birth. It's all lowercase letters. And they converted that into a bond. They changed that into all capital letters. If you go and order a copy of your birth certificate, it's all capital letters. They've incorporated your name. And they've done that because the corporation has to deal with another corporate entity. It can't deal with a living person. So that's why you have this straw man, this fiction, this fictional name. You have your lowercase name, that's who you are, a live man or a woman with living with a soul. And then you have this straw man. If you look at your driver's license, you look at your banking, anything with the government or corporations, everything's capitalized because that's the straw man. That's the one they want to do business with, and they want to bleed you dry with fees and fines and all kinds of things. So anyway, that's where we're at. I've sent, like I said, I sent out for my updated passport book and card, and it takes about 2 months, and I just got my card, and so this is going to be my new identification, and honestly, I'm not even going to carry this around with me. I might have a few copies in my private conveyance, my automobile, but like my favorite common law professor, you could say, when somebody says, where's your ID? Let me see your ID, and he says, well, what do I need an ID for? I know who I am. And that's right. People just can't come up to you and demand ID. That's ridiculous. Your only interaction with the revenue people, the revenue goons, the policy men, the police, is if you're causing some kind of harm. You're causing some kind of property damage. You've injured somebody. You're depriving somebody of their life, liberty, or property. So that's going to. I'm going to be surrendering my state-issued driver's license. I have the surrender affidavit already typed up already, and I'm going to ready to get that notarized and present to the motor vehicle, also with my tag. Turning my tags in. At the same time, I'm going to tell them thank you very much. I'm breaking the contract. We're done. And what that does now, there's no contract. And so now there's no performance. I have no duty of performance to them anymore. I'm not in their system anymore. With the new legal status as a non-citizen national, I'm not a United States citizen anymore. They really have no jurisdiction over me as long as I'm not injuring somebody or causing property damage. They have to leave me alone. Of course, they probably won't. They're going to want to interfere. They don't have the training. They're used to doing it, pushing their weight around, and we're going to have a little bit of fun with this. Also, like the professor says, if you're not having fun with this, you're doing it wrong. You're going to assert your authority to these folks. They are the inferior. They don't push you around. You're not a dog. They don't just come around barking orders and pushing their weight around. You just push back. You demand your rights. You're a belligerent claimant in person. You're going to demand your rights, all your rights, at all times, and you're not waiving any of them. I also have a new tag that I just bought that's going to be going. That's my DOT number. United States of America, under the Articles of Confederation, 1781, and that's my DOT number, 406-0032, and that's also my private automobile is also now registered into a trust, and I have the DOT number. I'm actually listed as a private carrier with the Department of Transportation. And so this is in the tag says private property, private. It's just passenger or my personal goods, and non-business. And that's the whole point with the driver's license. It's a commercial. It pertains to commerce. If you're an Uber driver or a Lyft driver, taxi driver, you're going to need a driver's license from the state. If you're a trucker, driving an 18-wheeler, you're going to need a driver's license. But if you're just bouncing around town, you're just going to the grocery store and whatnot, you have every right just to jump in your private vehicle. You shouldn't say vehicles, that's a commercial term. Your automobile, your private conveyance, and go about your business as long as you're not running over somebody. You also have these decals that came with my order, and this is the UCC 9109, and not for hire, non-U.S. citizen, a non-U.S. person, and so basically that's the registration that says that your automobile is a consumer good if it's used primarily just to transport your personal property around town, basically, and it's not subject to a registration according to the Bank of Boston versus Jones. Okay, so this is notice, and the point is you have to give people notice. You can't just broadside them and hit them over the head. Well, these are my rules. Okay, that was the whole point about sending these notices around to all these entities. My original corrected status, also the fee schedule, also putting them on notice with the letter from Arizona, and also stating my position that I plan on turning in my driver's license, and I want to be left alone. I'm not hiding from these people. I'm not going to be like trying to sneak around like a mouse. No, I'm going to be going right down Main Street and say, bring it on, bring it on. I'm not going to hide. There's no reason to hide. Okay, I'm going to be right in their face about it. Okay, so and I also have some other tags on the door there. Yeah, that private tag on the top. I'll probably rotate some of these out. The one on the very bottom is a duplicate of the one I just showed you. I like the green one. That's the same thing. US DOT private has my DOT number on there. I'll probably just rotate them out. It's really my call. It's my situation. I also recommend that you get some electronic gear, because you're going to have to record these folks, because when you get pulled over, you're going to get pulled over, and they're going to be trying to build a case against you. That's what they're trained to do. They want to build a case. They want to squeeze revenue from you. Okay? Well, this is going to go two ways. Now, I'm going to try to be building a case against them for violating my God-given rights, and then what I'm going to be able to demand remedy. And they've already been put on notice. I've already told them this is going to be very costly if they interfere with me. They already have the fee schedule. They already know this is not the cheapest thing's $100,000. So one malicious stop, and if they want to escalate, and I probably I would consider giving them a break the first time or two. As they would say, hey, since this is your first offense, I'm willing to cut you some slack. Well, that's how I feel. That's probably how I'm going to feel with these folks. My goal is not to cause a lot of controversy, but I am going to be demanding my God-given rights. And I encourage others to do the same, to not be timid about it. Don't let these people push you around. They work for you. They work for you. So anyway, like I said, I recommend you getting a little bit of electronic gear. One is my phone wasn't working, and so I ended up getting a new phone, Galaxy S23 Plus. It's like $1,000 phone. I didn't think I'd ever spend. I don't think I ever spent more than $200 on a phone. I mean, this was just absolutely crazy. My battery was dying on my phone, and it actually conked out. I wouldn't charge. I was really worried about it and not having any communication. And so I ran out to the mobile store, They really didn't have a whole lot. They had some Apple things I didn't want to do, and they had some of the cheaper models. They didn't have them in stock, and it was a week to get one. I said, well, let me just upgrade. It was I don't know, it was $27 a month for 3 years or something ridiculous. But anyway, a Galaxy S Plus. It's a very nice phone, best phone I've ever had. But it's going to give me great video and camera action and storage and all that good stuff. I also like that it has the, which I've never used before, was the kind of the password just to log in, because some of these folks, if they get into your gear, they're going to want to delete your video, or they're going to want to delete your stuff. They start rousting you and they know they've screwed up. Another thing I recommend is getting a dash cam. And I got this Vantru. It's the N2 Pro. The N2 Pro. I got this on, I don't know, it was eBay, probably Amazon. Probably about $150. And that's basically the shot going out the dash, okay? And actually it goes like this, because that little slide is goes onto the mount, the windshield mount, okay? This would be going out the dash. And then on the reverse side, this is what I would be seeing. I got a little screen there, and then this other little camera here, that's going to be the interior. It gives you a two shot. Okay, and then they have a little extra, they have a fancy, the dash mount device, which gives you the GPS, which is nice, because you're going to want, because this gives you the speed of your private conveyance. It gives you all the GPS coordinates, in case you end up in some kind of legal situation. It's nice to have the documentation, because what's going to happen is if you try to rely on the police footage, they'll delete it, they'll edit, they'll lose it, they'll manipulate it. You need to have control of your own electronics. And the other thing I got was a body cam. Pretty fancy. This is the most of the one like the coppers are going to use. It's kind of heavy duty. It's got a nice clip on here, and it's got the screen. That's what I would see. Okay, it's off right now, but I guess I could turn it on just to. Turn it on. But anyway, that's a body cam. The Mofly. This was about $150 on Amazon, and I also have a nice half vest, so I can clip it on. It's got a high and a low, because it's a little bit too heavy for the pocket. It kind of leans, and so I would I just went with the device. I went with the device. This was a great buy, and I got the vest. Okay, and so it gives me great control over it. So now I have all my electronics. I have the body cam. I got the dash cam. I got my phone, and so that's going to be my evidence in case I need evidence. Anyway, that pretty much wraps it up. I'm going to be going live probably in the next 2 weeks. I basically have everything I need right now. I have the letter typed up for motor vehicle, ready to turn that in. It's good to have a few extra bucks in the bank, because there could be a problem where my private conveyance might get towed. Who knows what can happen? So I wouldn't jump in if you're dead broke. I mean, so have a little money in the bank in case you got to get your car, out of the, gets towed to get that out. But that's also one of the things on my fee schedule. Seizing your property. I think it's 15,000. It's 5 times the property amount, and I think it's $15,000 a day or something like that. So it's going to be expensive if they mess with you. But be prepared that they are going to mess with you, at least initially. And I think once you push back hard enough, they're going to leave you alone. And the whole point is to make this easier for other people that come in behind you. Eventually, I think the whole country is going to be this common law under this. Supposedly, there's a new Declaration of Independence that was signed by President Trump and 34 governors on July 4th, 2020. And from what I'm hearing, that's about to get rolled out and made public. But it's not going to be like flipping a switch. All these judges and law enforcement folks, they're going to have to get retrained out of this admiralty law, this commercial law, back over to this constitutional law, this common law, where the people are just going to be left alone. If you're not bothering anybody, you need to be left alone. Okay? So anyway, that's where we're at, and I'm going to my next video will probably be a live encounter with some police folks, and I guess that's going to be probably in the next 2 weeks or so, 2-3 weeks. So anyway, stay tuned, and I encourage you to consider this. It's not going to be for everybody. A lot of people are going to wait and see what happens and let it to be easy, and they don't want to be in a confrontation thing. But you know what? I'm not waiting for somebody to tell me that I'm free. God has made me his child. I'm not waiting for everybody else to recognize that. I'm demanding that, and I'm going to live according to what the Lord has given me. And I'm gonna push. I'm gonna push against the bad guys. This whole matrix, this system of entrapment and enslavement. And so anyway, that's me. That's my personal decision. And I have the guts and the gusto to get out there and push. And I'm doing it not only for myself and my family, but for everybody around me, that they too can enjoy this liberty that we are all supposed to have as children of the King. Anyway, you all have a great day. Bye now.